Breeze, JetBlue, Southwest.
They're consistently ranked as some of the best airlines in America, and we're about to fly all three back to back to find out which is best.
Hello, Jet Setters. I'm Jeb Brooks from greenergrass.com. Are these America's best airlines? Well, we're about to find out, and you're coming along.
Here's the plan. We'll leave Raleigh, North Carolina and fly with Breeze to Providence, Rhode Island. Then we'll fly from Boston, Massachusetts to Atlanta, Georgia with JetBlue. Our final leg will take us from Atlanta down to Fort Myers, Florida with Southwest. Then we'll compare all three, including what you can expect to pay. But first, it's time for Breeze Airways. Breeze Airways is a low-cost airline founded by David Neeleman, the man behind JetBlue. Its low-cost nature is reflected in things like not having kiosks to check in, so we opted for the app instead of waiting in this line.
The first airline we're going to check out is Breeze. It's one of the newest in the US, and it's really got a lot of buzz around it.
Yeah, this is our first time flying with Breeze, and they say they're seriously nice and have been winning awards for how great they are. But I'm curious to know, in the comments below, let us know what you think is the best airline here in the United States.
One of the things that's really cool about Breeze is they have a relatively new fleet. Our A220 is only 6 months old. This is even better news because the A220 is one of my favorite airplanes, and it's just a spectacular experience from a passenger standpoint. One thing that's kind of a negative though today is that our airplane doesn't have Wi-Fi. We got a notification last night that it's not working on this plane. So I guess it's a good thing they gave us a notification ahead of time so we could download some content, but it's too bad that it's not working.
Breeze is a bit unique amongst these three airlines in that it offers a kind of first-class-like product they call Ascent. We just chose a standard economy seat for all three of these airlines. We'll be sitting in kind of a standard economy seat so we can get a fair comparison.
And there it is, the 6-month-old A220 that's going to carry us up to Providence today.
The plane parked, the inbound passengers got off, and the ground crew prepared it for us. We started boarding right on time.
Next stop, Providence.
The first thing that struck me on board was just how nice Ascent looks. I hope we'll get to check it out soon, but as Suzanne said, it's standard economy seating for us today. Now, Breeze does also offer so-called extra legroom seats, which are designated by this red color. They have an additional 3 inches of pitch beyond where we'll be sitting. But for now, here's our home for this flight, seats 20A and 20C. In addition to paying to select these seats, we also paid extra so we could each bring a carry-on bag. Everyone on board is allowed to bring one standard personal item that fits under the seat in front of you, but this extra cost means fewer bags, which really cuts down on boarding time too. The seats have a device holder, a standard tray table, as well as a coat hook, but best of all, there's power at each seat. The seats also recline, but at 1 hour and 20 minutes, there's no need for that.
It's time for the Greener Grass tape measure. Let's put this seat to the test. In terms of practical knee room, you're talking about 11 inches of practical knee room. Now pitch, about 30 inches of pitch between the two seats. And then let's look at the width. 20 inches of width.
That's much wider than most economy seats you'll find in the US, and that extra space is down to the size of the A220's fuselage. I'll take it. Now, it turns out boarding so quickly also means sitting around Raleigh a little longer.
We should be pushing back here in about the next 20 minutes. In the back, we got 3 wonderful flight attendants that are here primarily for your safety. So please pay attention to their safety briefing and any and all instructions they have for you. Thank you for choosing Breeze this morning.
Those 20 minutes passed uneventfully, and we pushed back and got on our way up to Rhode Island. We settled in. Now, Suzanne's iPad was a little too small for the device holder, but it was steady enough for the whole flight.
While some other airlines might offer free snacks, here on Breeze we'll have to pay for them. But in order to make this as complete a comparison as possible, we're going to do it. We're going to get a snack and a drink.
We also decided to check out the Wi-Fi just in case maybe it was working. It was not.
I think the yellow is an interesting choice. I'm feeling somehow like I'm on Spirit. This yellow color choice, kind of an odd decision on their part. It seems like they would have gone with blue. I don't know. Anyway, the colors on the backs of the seats indicate which class of service you're in and how much pitch is in each seat.
This is obviously a much better standard economy seat than you'd find over on Spirit. Another highlight of the A220, though, has to be these windows. They're absolutely massive, so much bigger than other airplanes.
Well, unfortunately, we just got an announcement that due to the flight time and turbulence, there'll be no service on this flight. Now, the seatbelt sign has been off the entire time. It really hasn't been very turbulent at all, and the flight is an hour and 19 minutes. So unfortunately, we can't show you anything beyond the menu. The seat is comfortable, and the flight attendants have been friendly in the aisles when they've been there. Just no service on this flight, unfortunately.
The TF Green Airport came into view, and we were wheels down.
Welcome to Providence. The local time is approximately 11 a.m.
All right, so what did you think of your first time on board Breeze?
I would say it was perfectly pleasant. There's not too much to comment on such a quick flight. It is kind of an interesting business model, that sort of ultra low-cost carrier thing with some kind of elevated upgrades you can get. That would be cool to check out next time and to try to fly those Ascent seats. Those look really nice.
Yeah, that was a great, I'll call it a first-class looking cabin, so we'll definitely check that out. But for now, it's time to head out of Providence. We've got to make our way over to Boston Logan to catch a JetBlue flight. What are you doing?
Aggressively refreshing until it's 24 hours before our Southwest check-in time. I hate this part.
$30 per person to upgrade to a better boarding position. What's the boarding position? A1 to A15?
Yeah.
Ooh. I think it's worth it. She controls the purse strings though, so are we doing it? We decided to do it. Gives us more time in the seat to get more footage for you.
The Southwest boarding process makes you anxious. Makes me anxious.
But we'll think about that tomorrow, because right now,
A JetBlue flight down to Atlanta.
we booked one of JetBlue's Blue fares, which include a carry-on bag and standard seat selection. This flight is also on an A220, so we picked seats on the left side again.
It wasn't too long ago that we were flying with JetBlue into Boston. That was, of course, Mint, which is their long-haul premium lie-flat business class experience. It's pretty amazing, really. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. But today, we're flying the more typical sort of regular domestic economy class to really get a sense of what that's like.
We included Breeze in this competition because it's such a new airline, and it seems like new often means great. And it was an impressive service. JetBlue is competing, though, because there's just an undeniable cool factor associated with that airline. But there's also a lot of extras. There's more legroom, there are TVs, snacks, all kinds of reasons. It's just such a nice experience. And that's it. The 3-year-old Airbus A220, or C-Series, it'll take us down to Atlanta. Its name is Blue Plane Special. A key component of this competition, if you can call it that, is ground game. How are these airlines handling their operation here on the ground? And the answer for JetBlue so far is not great. We are past boarding time and we still haven't begun. Hopefully we'll get on board soon. Just got an update. Turns out the reason we haven't boarded yet is the crew is not yet here. They're stuck in traffic. Boston. What you're looking for in situations like this is some crew members kind of with a hustle, like a little bit of a hustle within view of the passengers. We haven't seen that yet, so I'm sure they're on their way. Flight attendants have just arrived, and they did look like they were walking in briskly. That's what you want to see from a late arriving crew. Not the first time it's happened, probably not the last, but they're here. We should be getting on board in, 10 minutes or so. Just about 30 minutes late. Next stop, Atlanta.
Despite the delay, everyone worked hard to board this flight quickly. The gate agent even helped push wheelchair-bound passengers on board. We'll call seats 26A and C home for this flight down to Atlanta. Unlike our last flight, there's a seat back screen here. In addition to movies and shows and a moving map, there's also live TV. There's a USB socket here and an international plug down here. And while there's food for sale, there's also free drinks and snacks available too. The tray table is sturdy, the seat reclines, and overall just feels a lot bigger than the seat on Breeze, but
Let's take a look. 12 inches, 32 inches, 20 inches.
that's a full 2 more inches of pitch than we had on Breeze.
Everybody aboard to flight down to Atlanta this afternoon. Be underway here in just a few minutes after takeoff. 2 hours, 13 minutes en route. Everybody sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
All in, that delay, plus congestion on the ramp, cost us about an hour. Well, it could have been worse. We pushed back and made our way out to the runway, enjoying all there is to see in Boston, until it was our turn to head into the sky. We settled in, Seinfeld on the TV and New York out the window. By simply watching an ad, we were able to access fast, free Wi-Fi. Despite a far bumpier flight than we had with Breeze, our cabin crew were in the aisles serving. They first passed through with items for sale. Then they came through with drinks, and that was followed by a choice of snacks. I had ginger ale and sparkling water for Suzanne.
And here on JetBlue, you get the whole can for free.
Later, our flight attendant returned with a selection of snacks. I went with pop chips, and Suzanne opted for pretzels. Before long, we traded our views of the tops of the clouds for below them.
What did you think of JetBlue?
It's pretty awesome. Snacks, Wi-Fi, TV. Can't get better than that, right?
I think you're right. I think my favorite part of it, though, was the seat. It was just so roomy. I think that extra pitch and width makes a big difference.
Gotta be one of the best.
But for now, it's time to try Southwest.
One of the really great things about Southwest Airlines is you can check 2 bags for free. We are just carrying on today, so we won't need any bags, but we're gonna grab some boarding passes and then get this trip started. Unlike other airlines, here at Southwest, you won't be fighting mobs of people to get on board. Instead, you're given an assignment in line rather than a seat assignment, so you know exactly when you're getting on the plane, for better or for worse. In our case, we're A3 and 4 today, which means we'll be getting on pretty early, and that, I think, is a good thing. This boarding policy is going away, Southwest has announced, and we're going to be going to the regular seat assignment process like the other airlines. That's too bad. They're going to lose a little je ne sais quoi as a result, but for today, this is how we're doing it. As we just saw, bags fly for free here on Southwest Airlines, but there's so many reasons people love this airline.
In general, there seem to be less fees and less getting nickeled and dimed, feeling like you're paying extra for everything. There's the open seating policy, which, some people find controversial, but some people find really helpful. But I think the overriding thing that I usually hear about Southwest is just that helpful and friendly culture of their employees.
Well, we're about to find out for ourselves for sure, so it's time to get boarded up for this flight to Fort Myers. Let's get it checked out. And there it is, the 18-year-old 737-700 that'll take us down there to Florida today.
Had we not paid to upgrade our boarding position, we would have been B22 and 23. Not too bad, but I was glad to be boarding earlier.
Next stop, Fort Myers.
Unlike the other 2 airlines, there's no first class or premium sections here, at least not for the moment. Also, the cabin is arranged in a 3-3 configuration and most of the rows are identical. For extra room, you'll want to snag row 1 or one of the exit row seats. And with boarding positions like A3 and A4, we easily could have done that. But we want to make this an apples-to-apples comparison. So instead, we went back to seats 21A and B. How much space can you expect in a Southwest Airlines seat? If only I had some tool to use to figure that out.
Here we go. 12 inches of usable knee room, 32 inches of pitch, and 17.5 inches of width.
All that stacks up to a pretty comfortable seat. There's a tray table here, and the seat reclines. The menu highlights the free options on board, along with alcohol, which is available for purchase. Now, today's flight to Fort Myers is fairly empty, which looked to be a good thing in terms of a seatmate, but not everything was great with the seat.
No power, though.
We pushed back early, with 21C still empty, and started our short taxi out to the runway here in Atlanta. And this is why you always pick the window. Back in 2019, I flew this beautiful 747-8 from Seoul here to Atlanta. Soon, we were back in the sky. I settled in with my iPad and some content I downloaded in advance of this trip. But I didn't have to. You see, streaming options are available at no additional cost. There's also a magazine if you're into reading, and of course the map, which is the best way to track your flight's progress.
The seatbelt sign's on, but the flight attendants are already up in the aisle taking drink orders. Really impressive start to the service here at Southwest already.
Regular water for me and sparkling for Suzanne. Unlike JetBlue, Southwest does not offer a choice of snacks. Instead, everyone got pretzels.
Snacks and drinks have arrived. Unfortunately, the internet is not working on today's flight. The streaming is, we can watch movies and that kind of thing, send messages, but unfortunately can't surf the web, so I don't know how fast it is. But regardless, there's plenty to do up here on this relatively short flight.
If it had been working, Wi-Fi would have cost $8. But again, streaming entertainment, live TV, and even messaging are available for free. But no sooner had I finished my pretzels than we were on the ground.
Welcome to Fort Myers. What'd you think of Southwest?
That was a really great flight. I was kind of pleasantly surprised with the amount of legroom for sure.
Yeah, and that was a great crew too. You could tell they were having a lot of fun with each other and with the passengers, which is always a plus. But now, let's find out which one of these really is the best. Let's compare them all.
As always, whenever we provide ratings or comparisons on this channel, it's unscientific and based on our own experiences. That said, we'll take a look at the ground game, the seats, the food, the in-flight entertainment, and onboard service from today's flights. Then, we'll explain pricing and exactly what we paid on each of these airlines. First, in terms of ground game, JetBlue was at a real disadvantage, but getting your crew to the plane in time for departure is a necessary component to flying. Further, the gate agent didn't even communicate about the delay until after boarding time had passed, so they lose here. Southwest was the winner though. We pushed back early. Next, the seats. Breeze is in the clear bottom position since their seat was the smallest we tried today. That leaves JetBlue on top since they had the biggest. The award for best food goes to JetBlue since they offer a choice of free snacks. Because Breeze did not offer any service, they come in last place, and that wasn't even our shortest flight. That was our flight on Southwest. In terms of in-flight entertainment, Breeze is at the bottom since the internet was not working. JetBlue comes out on top because of their impressive seatback screens and fast, free Wi-Fi. Finally, the award for onboard service goes to Southwest thanks to their fun and engaging crew. And before we give you the overall winner, let's talk price. We booked 3 one-way tickets. We paid $152 each for Breeze, including the fees for a carry-on bag and seat selection, $208 each for JetBlue, and $159 each for Southwest. But since that compares different routes, let's find one that all 3 airlines fly. Turns out, they all operate Providence to Orlando. Now, let's assume we travel with 1 carry-on bag. Now, obviously, fares are going to vary depending on the time of day or the time of week or how full a flight is. But we found a date in October with each airline's lowest fare. Breeze starts at just $49, but if you want to bring a carry-on bag, you'll be paying an extra $30, bringing the total to $79. JetBlue will cost you $74 in their lowest Blue Basic ticket option, which includes a carry-on, but puts you in the final group to board. Southwest's lowest fare is also $74, and that includes a carry-on bag plus 2 checked bags if you have them. Now, these 3 airlines can be comparable when it comes to price, but it's all about the add-ons. If you have checked bags, Southwest could make a lot of sense, but if you only travel with a backpack that goes under the seat, Breeze's bare bones fares could work for you. And who's the overall winner? Well, it's a tie between Southwest and JetBlue. Between now and the next time, see you in the sky.
Okay. Just do this.
Okay.
You gotta get my good side. You might wonder how we do this. Early mornings, flying back and forth. Coffee. It's the only answer.
Hopefully that gets more, hopefully, that's all I can have to say about that.
Snacks and drinks may be free on some airlines, but
Let's get going.
Let's do this again because my hair is like, look at this.
It looks okay.
It's kind of weird. A little shiny too.
You look great.
Okay.
And here on JetBlue, you get the whole can. The whole can.